Hey everybody, thanks for coming back and spending some time with me. I'm Naomi, and on this channel, I just like to talk about the energies that we're all kind of call it the soup. We're in this energetic soup together, the field, and I like to pull some cards to kind of anchor us in a little bit, see what we're dealing with, see what we can do, have a little fun, talk to spirit. So that's kind of what's going on. Yeah. So let's see. I'm going to light us our candle. And then, yeah, the full moon is coming up pretty soon on the 11th. We have a full moon in Aquarius. And the sun, which is going to be opposite, is in Leo. And it it's some big energy that we're kind of working with, because what we've got going on right now is actually a big, what do they call it? The Grand Cross. We have an alignment of energies that's creating a square. And we've got the sun in Leo, the moon in Aquarius, which is exact opposite. And then on the other quarters, we've got Scorpio and Taurus. And that is where the nodes of the moon are hanging out. And I've got my chart hanging out here with me so I can remember all these different parts. But we've got a lot of energy that is in fixed signs right now, or moving into fixed signs. And that actually brings up things like where am I stuck? So, I mean, don't be surprised if there have been challenges that have been popping up, because that's actually part of what this is. This is almost like we were given a little pop quiz on what happens when we're challenged and how do we move through it. And what I kind of think is funny, not funny, is that in my own life, I've always had this kind of interesting relationship with cooking. And I love eating. I think eating is great and I really enjoy it, but I don't love to cook. I don't love being in my kitchen. I don't like the pressure of trying to figure out what to make every day. To me, that's a struggle. That's not where my creative powers are. I would much rather look at a blank canvas and do something cool with it, where it's like maybe that's a place where other people panic when they see the blank canvas. But for me, I feel that in the kitchen, where I look and I see just all these different things and my brain goes to like the three things that I know how to make. That being said, I've grown through that challenge and actually have become a pretty decent cook, mainly because I've got a daughter to feed. And so that keeps me consistent with the practice of doing something that I'm not super excited to do. And I have come up with a few things that I think are really yummy, but I get stuck. I get stuck in a rut with food all the time. And I think it's actually really interesting that this energy, so the energy that we've got I've been talking a little bit about the Uranus, Mars, and the North Node. Those three are conjunct. And that's in Taurus, which is a fixed energy. It's an energy of earth, of grounding, of sustaining the drive to keep building something important. And all of that was conjunct my Chiron. And that is the place, it's a weakness, it's a spot in my life that I have decided and came here to really dig into and to learn one way or the other. And then hopefully if I can pass the test of Chiron, come out the other side and actually be able to help others that have that same weakness in that same area. So I just think that it's kind of funny, this little story that I'll tell you, that maybe some of you know that actually like that we talk away from this thing, but that my refrigerator, my ancient refrigerator, finally gave up. It was over. It's done. We actually tried to call a repairman, and the guy was so kind, but he said, forget it. Don't even bother with this thing. Like, you could pour money into it, but it's not going to last a lot longer. So better to just go get a fridge. And that created a whole situation because they apparently don't make the size that fits exactly into this very tiny spot, very stuck energy spot. Now, me being this magical minded person, I see synchronicity and signs in everything, everywhere, and I see it as the universe trying to communicate something with me. I don't believe in my life that there are any accidents or anything that's just, for nothing. So I thought about this. And yes, it was very frustrating because right now we are literally living out of coolers that we use for camping. So it's kitchen camping right now. We're doing kitchen camping. And it's tough because I don't really want to have to do, like, this creates extra burden in the kitchen, which is, it's already a burden. It's already tough. So yeah, it's just like, okay, pile it on. Let's make it even harder. But what I recognized is that when things like this happen, it's actually kind of cool, because this created room for me to create something from scratch, a new relationship with food, my relationship with creativity in the kitchen. And, and then a friend brought this up to me, that this was also a place of abundance. Like, first of all, that the fridge itself is a symbol of abundance. You open it, hopefully there's food inside. And it's a storage place so that you can have food to feed yourself through the week, month, whatever. And then the other side is the abundance that when something like this happened, I was able to actually go out and purchase a new fridge. And that it wasn't this situation where it was, well, now I have to choose. I guess I choose to just continue, I mean, it's a big freaking purchase. So to me, I feel incredibly blessed and privileged to have the abundance to be able to afford a new fridge when we needed one. And this is something that is just, it brings to me the attention that I'm already super abundant, and I'm already, all I have to do is just tweak, adjust my vision. My guides continuously show me like the symbol of eyes, and this has been ongoing for the past few years, the symbol of eyes and changing your focus, that when something seems like a disaster, time to refocus and see it as an opportunity. How can we channel that into an opportunity? And so this is going to be an opportunity to completely change my relationship with how I operate and how I see myself in the kitchen. And I do think that it probably has long roots of being subservient in the kitchen, that is a role that me, as a kind of a fierce, like, I don't want anybody to tell me what to do, and I don't want anybody to put me in a box, and like all this stuff of like, don't put me in the kitchen and ask me to cook. Like, no, that's not a role I want. But now it's actually, I have the opportunity to see how I can become an artist in my kitchen and allow my kitchen, like I love the Encanto. Uh, like if you guys have seen the Disney movie of Encanto with the casita, and the little casita is like this magical being that interacts with the family, and I just love that. So I'm turning this into my kitchen is going to help and work to feed and sustain me, and yeah, we're gonna just start something new. So anyway, that is something cool that maybe you can look in your own life of what place am I stuck and how can I turn this into an opportunity? And with the energy of the moon in Aquarius, and hold on, let me see, because I think there was something else. Yeah, it's conjunct Saturn. So those two things, the moon and Saturn, hanging out holding hands, Saturn is teaching the moon how not to take things personally. And how, the moon in Aquarius can be very detached emotionally, very like forward thinking, feeling, and Saturn coming in, it like the shadow aspect of Aquarian moon would be, rather than detached, is too attached. And that too attached is when something happens outside of you, you taking it as it's your fault. You should be ashamed or guilty or blah, 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 that it's somehow that you did it. And this is taking somebody else's story, putting it inside of you, and then you experiencing an illusion. And so this Saturn energy comes around and teaches us structure and maintenance. And it's kind of like, the maintenance man who came in and he's, working it and changing things around in there to level it up. So we're getting some teachings around this, around what do I need to detach from? What do I need to stop taking personally? And how can I actually move with these fixed, strong, stable energies and actually go with the flow? So that is, in a nutshell, what the energy soup we are in right now. And yeah, so I figured what we could do, of course, as always, I lit us our candle and I'm going to seat it next to our beautiful Sekhmet, because this energy in Leo is so Sekhmet right now, that ferocity, that fierceness. However, I do want to point out that when she's seated like this, she's actually Sekhmet Mut. And when she's seated, she's actually that fierce ferocity of when she's standing and she's ready to, fly into action. When she's seated, she's actually in a receptive space. She's in a nurturing space. And it is that fierce protective mama energy that is stable and strong and rooted. She's relaxed. She's a purring kitty. So right there, that Sekhmet is the one that I absolutely just love. I love so much that energy of having that strength around you, that knowing like, I've got big energy to support my way forward, but that it's not gonna burn and scorch me. It's gentle and warm. So that's Sekhmet Mut. And I don't know who needed to hear that right now, but yeah. Um, yeah, let's actually just jump in. The deck that I'm gonna use today, so excited about it. It was a pre-order that I got, and I love the art of this. It's called The Embodied Witch by Laura Tempest Zakroff. It's just gorgeous art. So we are going to build a ritual for the full moon. How cool is that? So let's build a ritual, because basically what this deck is about getting being in communication with your mind, body, and spirit. But then she throws in these cool cards that actually do kind of give you a recipe for a ritual. So let's see what kind of ritual the energy that we're in will give us, what Sekhmet is going to offer her energies into the mix, and then, of course, your guides, my guides, and our eternal all selves that have already been to the end of the road of all of the different infinite possibilities that we have to choose from. So when we call on that part of ourselves, we can really start to hone in on what our most desired next step is. So let's take a look. These cards are extra humongous, so they're actually a little too big for my tiny hands. Ow, shuffling out. I have to really, so I'm going to try to shuffle like this or just fan them all out, which is something that I haven't done in a while, fanning them out. That's another way to pull cards. But let's see. I would love for the cards to show us how to build a ritual to work with this energetic soup during the full moon. Let's see. How can we work with this energetic soup? It's funny, I'm like talking about soup over and over again. Maybe that's something I'll make. I love making soup. There's something that really just stings true to me about making soup specifically. There's something so witchy about it. Yeah. So you get to like stir your magic in. It feels just like you can really imbue that soup with extra ingredients of love and magic. Okay, so the first card that we have is Dream. Dream. And I love this image with this snake coiled, and it's almost as if it's like tattooed to this dreaming person's body. And this cat, oh, hello. I remember I talked about Sekhmet being a purring kitty. There she is, helping us dream this shedding. We're shedding things that no longer serve. And if that sounds like I'm a broken record with shedding what no longer serves, I can guarantee you that that will probably be part of most or every reading, because that is actually one of our purposes. That is one of the soul contracts that we have as human beings here doing this 3D walkabout on Earth, is to shed and be that transformational energy of the snake and continue to renew ourselves and continue to expand and grow. So there we have the energy of dream, which is interesting because I picked this painting and this one actually came from a dream. Like that I can hold it a little bit. But it came from a dream. I dreamt of a mountain that was kind of a cloud, kind of not a cloud. Yeah. So that energy of dreaming is actually just like cascading into this reading. Oh, and we'll have to read this. I just got these cards just this week. Last week. It's only Tuesday. How is it only Tuesday? Oof. That's what's going on with the energies, moving fast. This one says hands. So we're going to read that because honestly, I mean, what I am hearing is hands as a symbol are direction. purpose, movement, making things, creation. We make things with our hands. And the symbols here, the hand of Fatima with the eye. I'm not familiar with this hand position. If anyone knows what this hand position is, it almost looks, it's gonna sound silly, but like in ASL, when you put your hand in like a T, and obviously I haven't done ASL since high school, but this, I believe, was like toilet. So, but if anybody actually knows what this hand movement is, I would love to hear. And then this one almost seems like, like the metal bowl or at like a metal concert. Okay, I have no idea what's going on with this. So let's read it, see if anything gets clear. But just from my own take on that, the hand of Fatima, protection with the eye inside, that's all-knowing protection. And I don't remember the story of Fatima, but it's very cool. I read it a long time ago. And then this like metal, like just headbang with the challenges, get ugly with it. And then this the toilet. Just flush it away. So there you go. I'm so glad you guys can hang out and giggle with me. That's the other thing with like Leo energy is all about like tapping into your inner child, letting it play, getting into the heart of the child. This is definitely not a zone where we take ourselves too seriously. So yeah. Okay, hands. Okay, it says magical artifacts. That is the section that it's under. Magical artifacts. Okay. In the foreground, we see 3 hand-shaped pendants. The mano figa on the left, the hamsa. So mano figa on the left. Left-right challenged here. I think is the blue one. Yes. Okay. The blue one is called the mano figa. And then the hamsa in the center. And then the mano cortuna on the right. All symbols of protection and power. I'm going to have to Google these 2 other hands that she's mentioned. How cool is that? I don't know about them at all. In the background, we can make out a handprint, much like those made by our ancestors thousands of years ago on cave walls, and not much different from the ones that we make as children with paint and paper. The handprint is evidence of existence. So consider, through our hands, we experience and interact with the world. We can use them to help and connect with one another, shaping our community. Our hands have their own language and are steeped in symbolism all around the world. Our fingertips are critical points where the body ends, and our potential to physically influence, alter, and direct the world with our intent begins. So much power rests in our hands. We can use them to build, gesture, give, receive, sculpt, speak, strum, pick, ward, write, caress, reach, protect, hold, break, comfort. And the keywords here are impact, assistance, influence, helping hand. How powerful is that that's coming in with this energy of Taurus that we were just talking about, which is all like it's simultaneously in astrology, it's associated with the throat, with expression and communication, but that it's also about using our hands to build, create, all of that she just mentioned. And so let's keep going with this. Let's keep building what this ritual is. Interesting. All right. Solstice. So we just had the solstice not that long ago, about a month. Yeah. And that solstice energy is when the sun seems to stand still in the sky. And I love this imagery that we have where it's like this mirror, this balancing. She's incorporating winter, both winter and summer solstice in this card. But it's that moment where the sun actually goes from be like extending its days longer. Then it has this moment where it feels like it stands still, and then the days go shorter. And so let's see what this kind of ritual, what this is trying to tell us, because right now, the other energy that we're working with is the energy of the Lion's Gate. And the Lion's Gate, which happened yesterday with the 8-8, portal, and that being more of a human calendar construct with our numbers and our idea of numbers. And what's kind of phenomenal is that the astronomical alignments actually happened on the day that we as humanity constructed for ourselves. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. So I'm sitting with this. What is this trying to tell us? The reason I brought up Lionsgate is because this is actually a time where, to the ancients, and this is to many of them, but the one that is most prevalent is the ancient Egyptian culture. We have lots of information about how this culture worked with the seasons and the times of year and their own calendar. This was the time of year that Sirius, the star, which I'm going to tell you, it's actually on these cards. I just geeked out like crazy. Here's the sun, here's the 3 stars in the belt of Orion, and here's blue Sirius right there. If that was not just synchronicity, that just lit me up. But this was a time where they started their new year, and it signaled the time when the waters of the Nile would begin to rise and flood over the edges, and then this would be the fertile time of year to plant their crops, to sustain themselves until, harvest. And well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. But this gate, there are many temples that have 2 lions on either side of a gate. And in that middle, we've got that space in between, which is the portal to move through. We've got the lion that faces the future and the lion that faces the past. And in between is right now, present moment. And so I do actually believe that this card is referring, using, as always, the language of the guides when we give it this many words to choose from. Why I love Oracle is because it becomes very open-ended. And we can look at the picture and not necessarily the word or the two together. But I'm actually seeing this. I'm seeing this where we've got the 2 energies flanking on either side and this moment in the middle. And you see how this creates the infinite. It's a moment of infinite potential when we stand right there in the moment where we disengaged from the thoughts and the concerns about our future, or the challenges, regrets, or musings, nostalgias of the past. And this moment is when we really can get focused right here, right now. on what it is that we're actually going to start to focus on, what we're going to craft with our hands. How can we actually build something? And with this one saying, these are all like on chains. And so it literally is like a necklace or something that you can hang from the wall. But I'm seeing this mostly as a necklace, that when we use an amulet, that it is on, like it is something that you have poured intention into, and then you put it on your body to hold that intention while you can forget about it. That's the beauty of amulets, is that they hold that power so that you don't consistently have to use your focus to maintain it. You've got an ally that is holding it. And there's no better ally to do this work than crystal, because crystal is super duper programmable. It will hold your intent and also lift the vibration of your intent, because they really are like liquid source. And they also, I consider this really strongly, is that they are beings. They're living beings, just not in the way that we recognize a living being with a heartbeat and, you know, but they grow, they communicate. It's just all very subtle and very different. So I'm seeing this as beginning a moment, like finding something that can really start to, when you hold it, you step out of these places where you get stuck and you're being pulled, being challenged. The beauty of that, the square, that cross energy, when all those challenges are going around, the beauty of it is that there is the center focal point. And that is where we can get the most clear about what needs to have our focus and what needs to take priority. And the way that it's telling me how to actually follow this is through our dreaming. And I love to work with dreaming so very much. And what's kind of interesting is that the past 2 nights, I've had nightmares, which is not typical for me. I don't normally have nightmares. Past 2 nights have been rough. I've had nightmares. But what that's actually showing me is, what is it that my subconscious, like the moon, the cat also is symbolic of holding the subconscious field and carrying it into this moment. Like cats are super magical. They're tapped into some pretty deep knowing. I feel like they move through the veil very easily. Like, I had cats for a little while. I love them, but my husband's allergic. So we only had cats for a year. But I swear, those cats, they were they knew stuff was going on, and they would meow at things that I could not see. So anyway, yeah, I got off track with that. But anyway, the power of cats, by the way. So if you have a cat, help it. No, ask, engage with your beautiful feline to, be a protector of you while you dream. I'm getting like Sekhmet energy of that these cats are here to hold our dream and to protect us while we dream, so that we can be in that vulnerable state and do it with ease. So anyway, what is this ritual? Perhaps on the night of the full moon, perhaps you craft some kind of amulet, some kind of physical item to hold. And when you're holding it, I'm actually seeing you taking that time to really imbue the crystal, let's just pretend, let's say that you've chosen a crystal that you're going to put on a necklace and wear as an anchor for these times, is that, you know, this dreaming, I love talking about the dreaming self. And the dreaming self, if you look at your birth chart, is the IC. It's the part at the very bottom, the bottom of the wheel. You can take a look of, you know, what sign, if there's any planets that is hanging out right there with your dreaming self. So it's a side note, but as far as this ritual goes, crafting something with that dreaming part of you, that intuitive part of you that is always understanding of how to sit in the balance, and then create something with your hands that will be an anchor, so that when you are pulled and challenged, you can hold it and it can help you, can be your ally to remember how to get to this center point where you can, like, I'm seeing this as us being able to see in all directions, because when we're in the middle, we can see 360 degrees around us. So crafting, creating, and, you know, and then really the word is charging it with your energy, your magic, your intent, to help you go back to your center, your heart, or whatever you consider to be your center. But yeah. So it seems like we have a bit of a ritual that was crafted, and I really love that. So I'd love to hear how any of you use that or interpret it yourself, because I am very open and eager and excited about the way that you guys interpret the cards yourself when you are looking at the pictures, because perhaps you are also picking up on layers that I may not know because I don't have that particular experience. But when, you know, when other people do readings, sometimes they're telling me things and I'm looking at the card and I'm seeing something else that they're not telling me. So I invite you to look at the cards to see what messages were there for you as well that I didn't say. So happy Leo energy of August. And I think that's it. So I just want to thank my guides and your guides for a beautiful reading. And I can't wait to try this ritual out. So, and see what my dreaming self has to say. Yeah. So I'll put these cards right here. I feel like the cards need to hang out next to Sekhmet right now, because she's always dreaming. She's a dreaming statue. But yeah, so, you know, last night we had a really beautiful event. I did a Lionsgate portal experience journey thing, where it's basically like a guided meditation, and I just led people to go visit the star Sirius to see what it actually had to say, if there was any wisdom that came through. And it was very beautiful, very relaxing. I got very sleepy after hosting that. And yeah, we'll see exactly what is coming through. It's not like me to have nightmares, but I am eager to learn what they're trying to tell me, and what it is that either I need to be aware of or that I've been avoiding, because sometimes I kind of interpret nightmares like that. So I plan to host more of these kinds of events, so I do hope that you can join me And apologies for the link shenanigans when I crafted that thing to get everybody ready and registered for the meeting. It switched the date on me, and so there was some confusion around that and some people that couldn't join that I would have loved to have seen there. So apologies if you were one of those people that tried and then couldn't get in. I'm sorry. So at least now, this is another one of those things. I'm learning from different mistakes and learning how I can hopefully not have that mistake happen again. But guess what? That just leaves room for other mistakes I haven't made yet. So just patience on me as I learn how to do all this like techie stuff that's super not my forte, but I'm learning. And yeah. Mhm. So that being said, stay tuned for more beautiful things that I'm gonna offer because I just put them out as they come to me. So, and also just, again, the Ancestor Alchemy retreat is open. We would love to see you there, and that would be beautiful for you to, experience these style things, but much deeper, much richer, the only way that, you can with community. Like this is another one of um being in community and doing beautiful magical things together. There's nothing like it. So yeah, that'd be great. I'd love for you to join. And then I don't know, that's really all I've got for today. So I hope that you are all doing well, and I can't wait to see you again in the next reading. All right, bye.